Dela writes, my MVVs, welcome.
Report reaching us right now is that the Ooni of Ife has arrested and locked up Oletik's uncle who did the royal kitchen dirty job. Of course, if you have been following the trend, you heard about the flood that plumbing pipe was broken in the kitchen and ruined everything in the royal kitchen. That is where they prepare food for the Ooni of Ife. And they said this was a deliberate act to prevent Naomi from entering there in the morning to prepare breakfast from the Ooni of Ife. And they said this has caused a lot of problems in the palace of the Ooni of Ife. And wives started accusing each other, fighting, and it was a whole lot of basbos. And because of the kind of problem that emanated from this, Ooni already knew that, over time things will happen and they will argue and argue and argue. At the end of the day, they will know who did what. And this time he decided not to, allow little children use him to tie firewood because, yes, like I said earlier, if a snake refuses to use its venom, little children will use it to tie firewood as though it is a rope. So as we are hearing what is going on right now, they said that Ooni had to bring out his ancient sword, letting them understand that it is not business as usual. You cannot continue doing as you please. You and I know that most of the things that happen in the palace, at the end of the day, a lot of people said, even if something is done, like they find out who is responsible for whatever happens in the palace, it turns out that nothing is done. And because nothing is done about it is the reason why these things continue to happen over and over again. So this time, Ooni of Ife is not sweeping stuff under the carpet again, because you and I know that you cannot continue doing the same thing over and over and over again, and then you expect to have a different result. As we are hearing what is going on, they said Kabiyesi had to summon his wives, brought out his ancient sword, and when the ancient sword was brought out, just pointing it at the women, they said Oletik screamed and said that it was the brother. The brother made a mistake, like the brother did that mistakenly. Now, mistake how? At what time of the night? Because it was the same kitchen that Olori Naomi had used earlier to prepare meal for the Ooni of Ife. So apparently, whoever did this, they did it to prevent Olori Naomi from entering there to be the one to prepare breakfast again for the Ooni of Ife. Like, it was so disappointing. They could not, believe that this drama, like Naomi and Ooni of Ife would have come to this point where they are right now. That is the biggest challenge that the Oloris are having. So if you have been following the trend, you know that one of the biggest problems that these Oloris have is Queen Naomi. Queen Naomi, and it is not because Naomi has done anything to them to deserve the kind of stress that they have given that woman. The woman was just there managing her life, being in her matrimonial home. They thought that, it was so green. They thought that, she had everything. She was enjoying too much. They decided to come to ruin her home. They came, they snatched everything. They now basically pushed her out and they took over. But being in the palace, for this short time has, taught them that it is not as easy as they thought it was. Like, marriage, okay, you may never ever know what the other person is going through inside their home, except you are in there. You just don't stay in your own comfortable space and begin to think that, that person's home is heaven. Marriage is basically what you make out of it, okay? And now they have come, they have seen, now, for everything, all the havoc that was committed, they thought that, it was over. Naomi was gone. Ooni was done and dusted with Olori Naomi. But one thing about God, God knows the beginning from the end. You cannot, preempt God. God knows what he wants to do. And no matter what, once it is God's design, God will do that which he knows how to do best. And boom, from nowhere, Ooni of Ife and Queen Naomi started, seeing again, and, things are going well again. And with the way things are now, I do think that this time they have been through thick and thin, and they have seen better days. And I do know that with understanding and the grace of God, things will find its natural equilibrium. This is when I am beginning to believe everything Reverend Esther Ajayi has been saying. Remember where she kept saying that, things will go very bad, but Naomi and the Ooni of Ife will be together. And when things went so bad that Naomi started going her own way, Reverend Esther Ajayi didn't know what to say again. Nobody knew what to say again. Everybody thought like, okay, so what was Mama saying? What was Mama saying? Today, as it is to the glory of God, everybody knows what Mama was saying, because see Naomi from nowhere, God started fixing and restoring things between Ooni of Ife and Queen Naomi. So now it looks like I am digressing. They said that Oletik agreed that the brother made a mistake, that the brother never meant it, it was a mistake. Now, if it was truly a mistake, why didn't you come up? Why didn't you open up? Why didn't you say, look, my brother made a mistake, instead of letting other Oloris to quarrel, to take a fault for your own mistake? However, they said the Ooni of Ife has arrested and detained that uncle of Oletik that is there in the palace, who went to go and bust those pipes, because he did it deliberately. And there is no way in this world that anybody, if this information is true, anybody can sit down there and say that it was a mistake, or that Oletik didn't know what happened. Oletik knew very well. Apparently, Oletik has sent him to go and do that. Now, because the uncle doesn't want to get Oletik into trouble, they said the uncle is saying Oletik did not send him. Oletik has no hand in it. He just got up and decided to go and bust pipe because he didn't want Naomi to cook for her husband. What is your business? You're there to be with your sister. Why interfere in their marital affair? Because that is exactly what this man again has done with the help of Oletik. But however, they said that the Ooni of Ife is not letting this slide. Like, Ooni arrested that boy out of anger, that man out of anger. And they said by the time the man is released, the man will be thrown out of the palace like a sack of potato. Now, they say he is the one who is driving Oletik. They say because of the twin, Oletik had made mention of the fact that he doesn't trust anybody. He will prefer the family to come. And so this man has been the one driving Oletik from one point to the other. So apparently he is working for Oletik as an uncle and also a driver. But see all these people are doing. How is it fair that they all join forces together to continue to do this to Olori Naomi? And thank God Ooni of Ife is not leaving things to chance anymore. This is what we are hearing, that he arrested the boy. I'm going to bring you more update. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Do not forget, these are all alleged rumors and speculated information making the rounds on social media.